Hello, wonderful people. So today we're going to be looking at this Hacker News thread I saw yesterday. Is anyone making money selling traditional downloadable software? I wanted to see what people have to say. So curious if any hacker users are running successful businesses selling desktop downloadable software with a one-time payment model. Not SaaS, not subscription, something like the old days. How's the market for that? I think there's a I think there's some websites where you can buy, like, you can upload your own like software and stuff, and people can buy it from like a marketplace. I guess there's a few of these. Uh, so my brother acquired an aging app. I don't know, from an aging founder built on Delphi. We actually covered Delphi the other day in my video on 50 programming languages in one sentence. Uh, Used by dozens or low hundred of the world's leading shipping, energy, and commodities companies. Pretty cool. Used as a standard to calculate lay time and demurrage. Myriad of fees associated with ship docks into a port. See, this sounds niche. It's like uh, it used to cost 5k for a perpetual license tied to a USB. So they've got a few hundred users. 5k, that's not bad. That's anything from like probably like 500,000. It sounds like if they've got a few hundred users. Uh, you you had to buy two licenses with two keys. Okay. If you wanted it on two machines, you had to buy two licenses with two keys. Fair enough. Let me know in comments below if any of you are making money. I'm just gonna. Some users don't want updates. This is true. I understand that updating software takes manpower, some for running server sync. You know what? I'm not gonna look at the responses. I like to just look at sort of the base comment. Oh, that's still a response. So legal changes. I wonder how many comments there's actually on this thread, considering there were so many responses to that initial one. So legal changes are making it increasingly very difficult to sell perpetual licenses. Did not know this. So, for example, in Germany, a new law recently took effect that clarifies that if you sell a software license for a given period of time, you're liable to provide whatever update support the customer may need over the course of the software's licensing period to enable the customer to keep running it at no additional cost. Yeah, I can see how that's really like risky if you're just like a small company or lone developer. Because this almost feels like being a SaaS company and having like a big client, someone who's paying a lot of money and you're having to sort of work with them directly rather than just providing a single use software. I don't know what I think about that. I feel like if you've made a piece of software that you're sort of just selling, I feel like you should be able to just leave it as that. I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong there. I guess it still has to function, so updates in terms of making sure it still works on sort of newer operating systems and stuff would definitely be fair. So I'm not a lawyer and may be getting this wrong, but if you're contemplating getting into the business of selling perpetual licenses and software, definitely check with a lawyer. It's not like it was in the 90s. I feel like in the 90s you could probably just do anything. Just like, here, I want to sell this. Do you want to buy it? Yay. In the 90s, a large driver of recurring revenue for software was that when the OS and hardware landscape changed, you made a new version of the software adapted to that change, and then if customers wanted to upgrade their OS or hardware, they made them come back to you and pay you for the new version. Okay. Under the new legal regime, you'll be forced to give them the update for free. So if you sell an actual perpetual software license, you have a fixed amount of revenue on one hand and a potentially unlimited liability. Yeah, I see what they're saying. So it's infinite in the sense that it's perpetual. So if you sell a piece of software to someone and Windows comes out with Windows 11 or whatever it is, different changes to operating systems that could break your software, you're going to have to update that forever. That's what you've agreed to. Yeah, it's quite an interesting thing. I think sometimes it's really difficult because these things are obviously good, and I'm all for uh, protecting the customer. But on the other hand, that will force this. This essentially forces you as a company to want to go more subscription route rather than a sort of single use sale, which is why maybe this is the reason that everything is going subscription based. And obviously, people like recurring revenue anyway. That is a good point. The US developer may not be aware of the EU Cyber Resilience Act mandates an obligation to provide duty of care for the entire life cycle of such products. That's quite interesting. I wonder if that applies to web. Like if you made, I don't know, a to-do app and you just said, oh, you can have unlimited access to this forever for like $25, $30. I wonder if that's the same sort of. I guess it will be. There's no reason for a website to stop working anytime soon, I guess, but I wonder if it's the same. So, I started selling commercial use software license on the 1st of January 2025, so that's only a couple of weeks ago. For installable, downloadable software, I've been developing for about 5 years. I respect it. The software targets Microsoft Windows. That's fair enough. So it'd probably be like be an application. As the software is of that nature, I will require updates indefinitely as OS updates come and go. And given the fact that the license is specifically for commercial use, I decided to go with a subscription model instead of a one-time payment model to ensure its long-term sustainability. It's completely fair enough. That's the thing. With a law like, with a law like that, if I have to think about maintaining software forever, then I want to get paid forever, in a sense. You have to fund the ongoing development. So I'm lucky that this specific software is very sticky and already has a die-hard fan base. It also helps that people in the Windows ecosystem are used to paying for commercial use software licenses. This is true. This month, to date, I have made $800 on license sales. Very nice, congrats. It would be interesting to see how the license sales continue to progress or don't throughout the rest of the year. Did you target a specific area that needed your skill sets or knowledge? Good question. I needed the software for myself. This is always the way. Like, you can only solve problems if you're exposed to problems. Look, you can sit there at home in an armchair thinking about problems to solve, but I think that's a bad way of going around it. Like, don't get me wrong, I do it too, but it's not the best way to do it. I think something that Palantir did, I read an article, is they literally send their engineers to companies who have problems and they help solve them. Like, that's literally what they do. It's really clever because it's like, okay, we're going to send these engineers to you and help with this thing that you want, and we're going to integrate all our software with you, and any sort of additional things, just speak to them, and they do it on site. And that way you're actually solving people's real problems. And that's how you get real customers. So I needed the software for myself. Yeah, sorry. I have been very clear with the community from the beginning that this is software that I developed first and foremost for myself. New features and bug. This is the big thing with anything. It's like, it's about being honest. I think people don't really care what you do as long as you're transparent and honest. So yeah. Additionally, support is not, obviously unless it's really bad. Additionally, support is not offered as part of the commercial use license and is largely community driven. Nevertheless, I still spend many hours a week helping out both personal use and commercial use users. So they're saying additional support is not offered as part of the commercial use license, whereas I thought that, I mean, maybe I'm misunderstanding, or maybe they're not. Maybe that's a US thing rather than like a Europe thing, and maybe they don't have to do that. I don't know. I thought we read that they did. I can't remember. Quite interesting though. Quite cool. Let's see. I'm making a very small amount of money, 1k USD a month. I wouldn't say that's a small amount. I think that's great. I think anyone would be more than happy to be making 1k a month extra. Many people have told me to switch to subscription, but I just don't think it's the right thing to do for a desktop GUI app. It's always about expectations, isn't it? What's prompt 16 engineer? Structured prompt creation coding. Helps manage source code context and craft prompts complex. I wonder if this is literally just using like this will just be using final prompt. So it creates the prompt for you. So you've got a task. So that's the raw input. Add created at field to dos, both updates backends, and then this creates. Okay, fair enough. Very cool. Free version, lifetime. See, it's quite interesting. $24 for lifetime. Yeah, so it's quite. I don't know. It's quite interesting about the legal stuff, and I guess a lot. Like, I wouldn't even always know about the legal stuff. Like, if you just started making, if you made a piece of software, you made a website with a downloadable piece of software. I don't know. It's yeah. I guess I don't really know what I'm saying, but it's quite interesting that you need to take care of the legal stuff. Really, think about that. So JetBrains is still selling the IDE using old methods as well as new. You can buy perpetual license, but if you want upgrades, you pay again. So that's quite interesting. Okay, that's not so that's upgrades though, not updates. I think the key thing is having to keep it working, but also on the other hand, there's no reason for things to stop working, and obviously it would also require you'd have to have a problem. So I think as long as you're helping your community, it's probably not really an issue. Because for it to become a legal issue, someone would have to have a legal problem with you, right? And they would have to say that you're not helping them or that you're not updating it, and you probably would just do that. So it's probably not too risky. So Minecraft, having a huge community, still sells lifetime licenses with upgrades. I wouldn't pay for it monthly either. True. It's all about expectations. It's about what you're used to. If you're used to paying for something one-off, like a game, there's certain games, obviously World of Warcraft, RuneScape, they're subscription-based, but that's because people are used to it. Something that I find quite interesting, actually, is like people are still willing to pay for Call of Duty, even though most other games in that sort of space that do similar things are now like free. And they would still make a ton of money if they were free, like Fortnite or something like that. Talking about royales, and obviously I know their thingy is free, but because people are so used to paying for Call of Duty for all these years, they're happy to pay it. So it's expectations. I'm surprised it's not free at this point, to be honest, but I guess there's no need for them to do that. I also bought some software like a guitar tuner, a perpetual license, and they turned it off. The possibility of buying it that way. But I still use it this way, despite they used to nag me to pay monthly. The problem is that one private person cannot hold too many subscriptions. It's killing the budget. Okay. I believe they are called apps now. It's a $500 billion market. As far as desktop software, it's the same as it ever was. You make a product, you release it for download, you sell a license. No mystery to it. Yeah, but they were asking if people do it. They were asking you specifically if you were doing it. So yes, I did so for 10 plus years, about 15 years ago. It launched my business, which then evolved to include a lot of consulting. And that's how you get follow-up money, I guess. I charged for major version upgrades that introduced substantial new functionality, discounted for existing customers. Minor version upgrades were free. I think that's a good way of doing it, and that's all you want. I was probably the thing with like minor versions, so let's call it like bug fixes, like that. Those bugs, if it's a bug, you should take care of it for free because that shouldn't be in your software in the first place. If you're adding features, I think it's fair to charge if you want to. Especially, or if you're paying a subscription or something, then that would just be part of the subscription cost, But if you've bought something which has a set of features, if you want new features, but you haven't paid for those, then yeah, no, you get the point. Let's see. I've been running Bolt AI. I think that's the. I think I've used that as well. That's the LLM for creating like front end apps, isn't it? Pretty sure. Oh no, I got that wrong. Or have I? run by a human. No, I think it is that. Oh, anyway. Let's see. I've been building a break reminder app for Mac since slightly more than a year, and it's been growing really well. Mostly through word of mouth. It currently nets 5k a month. That's crazy. Like, that's such a simple app. I would not think that's like. I think this is about distribution. Here, I'm surprised this is going by word of mouth. Like, I can imagine building something like that and getting sales if you have an audience. But yeah, that's quite interesting to me that they've managed to do that. I buy very little, but yeah, congrats. That's pretty cool. Buy very, um, I guess in the Apple ecosystem, because you have to sort of pay to develop on it, I'm pretty sure you probably have less competition, I suppose. And I think people are more willing to spend money, probably, if they're on Apple, would be my guess. I mean, that's completely made up by me, but it wouldn't surprise me if it were true. I buy very little software, but I made an exception for that recently. I bought alternative A2DP driver. Okay, so it's a driver, fair enough. It was a one-time purchase of $5.99, that's not a lot. They're unfortunately locked to a specific computer. Okay, that's fair. It's cheap though. I know that Houdini, software used for Doctor Strange portal effects, and a bunch of others were all perpetual licenses when we bought them, and we chose these software specifically because they had perpetual licenses. SaaS vendors want to capture the margin of their power users, which means by necessity they price out casual users of their software. For any software that might be used for a hobby or casual use, perpetual license targets a different market than SaaS. Yeah, true. Like, any individual's not going to pay 100k a year for some software, whereas SaaS, that would be quite common, paying 100k a year to integrate with their software platform. That's one of the reasons why the spatial audio designer targeting freelance audio is popular with musicians. I mean, ultimately, I think it's a good idea. Yes, game developers. That was kind of I didn't really mention this, but this was sort of my first thought. Like, yeah, most games are this. So, yeah. True. I mean, when did I remember playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm pretty sure that was 2 discs. I might be wrong. Someone might have to fact check me on that, but that was crazy. That was ages ago. Uh, Red Dead Redemption 2 release date. That's not as long ago as I thought, but still. I write bespoke software on this basis. There's a significant market for custom software in specialized industries, security scopes, capitalization rules, tax and privacy laws, rules, SaaS subscription out. That's crazy. Fair enough. But again, this is about exposure. I think loads of us can solve problems if we come across them. That's like our job. Actually having the exposure to the problem, I think, is often the hard thing. Just take a look at Panic. Most of their stuff is perpetual license software with really only Nova, requiring a subscription if you want ongoing updates after the first year. Fair enough. Feature creeps, proper rebuilds. Slightly tangential, but perhaps somebody could answer this question. So having decided that rather than trade as a fictitious company and go personal brand route, I'm interested to know who has successfully sold their own desktop apps from a website with their personal domain. I don't know if they're making money, but they're charging money and I'm paying for it. Audio Hijack, Easy Draw. I don't have many others, just brain dead at the moment. Fair enough. The issue is that one-time purchases have perpetual costs. So I mean, yeah, that seemed to be like the initial talking point that people had, but yeah. Anyway, I think I'll leave that there.